So we're just going to finish up that video because I did finish it and then deleted that second part anyways. It always cuts out a few seconds when it makes a new file. Good job, Samsung. So, hey, again, right? So we're talking about corporations in the technological age, electronics, software, and how they just, there's no guarantee on any of this stuff, and they know that, and they're raping everyone. I was leaving off, talking about how it started to piss me off because, I've been fucking with computers my whole life, for a while. That was just like what I enjoyed doing. So it didn't bother me when some software and stuff failed. And plus I mod stuff so much. Can I blame someone else when my JTAG Xbox doesn't work at, 110%? It wasn't meant to be JTAG, right? I can't blame no one for that. But when Windows messes up and I've got, tons of freaking stuff on there, especially in the past, that's it's not really designed to run, but I'm running overlays and stuff like that and skins and, whatever else. I'm not running skins anymore, but in the past, running skins was definitely an error-causing thing. Apparently, that's why I've not seen skins advertised anywhere for it so much. And there's just, you could see that they're targeting ignorant people, like, children. People don't know anything about tech. Children and old people. And that started to really piss me off because, it's the people who don't know who need protection from those of us who do know. That's hard for me to keep in mind a lot when I'm dealing with this Jewish issue. But women, go to Edward Bernays. Women, children, obviously old people are part of that now. And you can tell by some of these groups, foreigners and non-whites are specifically being targeted by their propaganda. Look at blacks' obsession with tennis shoes. They think they're going to buy some Michael Jordans and become like a rap star because of it and shit. They definitely, you couldn't target white males with buying $300 shoes like that, right? White males, like Edward Bernays says, you can't target the white males. You have to target those around him to convince him. Basically the woman will bring him down. It was his argument. So when you start targeting children, that really pisses me off. And there's not many people who can get away with targeting children, at least not yet. They're working on expanding this stuff because it's coming into play. And, even Kanye West made, something. I don't believe that if you give your 8-year-old child a smart device that there should be, restriction from him buying Kardashian stuff. And, was it Kanye West who complained about the Kardashian app? I think it possibly was. But, you can't target kids and rob them. Kind of buying stuff from a marketplace is not technically robbing someone. But buying something that doesn't work properly from a marketplace is. Or buying something that you're about to stop supporting is robbing anyone. Women, children, men, whites, blacks, Asians, Latinos, everyone. There's no control in any of this. There's none at all. I can make the excuse that these politicians are old and they don't know what the fuck's going on in the real world anymore. They're out of touch with reality. And that's not a hard argument to make because they are out of touch. But I think most of them want to be out of touch because they just want to live there. They want to schmooze with the rich, fancy people. And that just requires letting the lobbyists have their ways pretty much. And they get what they want. They get their kickbacks. I mean, it should be their job to keep up with shit. They're the government. They should know what's going on. The CIA knows about this shit. Boy, do they ever. According to the WikiLeaks, right? Hell, the CIA is probably part of the reason why this stuff fails so much and feels like it's spying on you. You get something faster and it feels a little bit slower and it's like, that's odd. Maybe that extra power is being used to spy on me. And it probably is. There's just so much going on. I mean, I could turn this into a 17-day-long video with all the things I've seen, right? I mean, because this is my life. You know, even when I, like, fell out of tech, you know, didn't get with smartphones, and it's still a field for people who aren't smart. People who want phones aren't interested in intelligence. So it's like, it was partially forced on me to get a smart device. And then it became like, you know, like the most advanced technology ever. And it's still limited. They still limit it because they want you to buy a Chromebook. They want you to buy an Apple book. They don't want it to replace that stuff. They want it to be a companion. They don't even want these things to work together. Chrome doesn't want Android. Google doesn't want Android to work properly with Windows. And you can argue this with fanboys all day. But like I said, these people who want phones, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're not fucking tech nerds, you know? Granted, the first person I know who had an Apple device, you know, I'm talking like early on. He was into computers and, he built his own workstation and all that stuff. And he would modify his workstation graphics cards to be gaming cards. You know, he pretty much knew a little bit about computing at the very least. But, you know, beyond that, most of the users, even the people reviewing it, don't know what's going on. And everyone in all these fields, they're just letting people have their heyday. You had Intel was going to sell the greatest graphics cards, super improved. The propaganda was everywhere. They're going to be 2 times better and half as cheap. And right away, I was like, you guys are fucking idiots. I was like, this shit does not happen, and it's not going to happen. If it's 2 times as good, it's going to be 1.5 times better. Higher in cost at the very least. But no, 2 times as good. Market's a 3 to 4x market jump, and they're simply not going to do that. They're not going to do that because if they had 2 times the power, they would slowly release that to you over 10 years to sell you 10 new junk products, right? Fill up the landfills with more junk. See, this even ties in to true eco conservation, right? That's a whole nother video. Don't even let me get started in how the green movement, recycling, all that is total bullshit. It's a total scam. It's job creation. It's government intrusion. It's illegal fucking not to recycle some places. It's like not all places. And it's just, man, but this is a huge part of true eco-conservation is providing the best quality product that can be upgraded and fixed for infinity, you know, until the end of time. You can combine 10 computers you have over the past 20 years and make them into one mainframe computer for your house. But no, they don't want that to happen. In any corporation who works against this stuff, there are so many ways we can crash these corporations and send them to their death and then seize all their assets. And we got to put blocks on them first so they can't get a bailout and they can't take more money from there. I mean, there's just so many ways they can take bailouts. The bailout thing ain't new. It's old. Trump's had with so many bailouts in his life. That's why he's one of them. That's why. Because he's learned how to scam like one of them. He's learned to scam from the top. There's just so much that needs to be done. And none of these people are working towards this. None. I've not heard a single politician exhibit intelligence in almost any field. Almost. One slips my mind. You know, Ron Paul knows some fiscal stuff. And, but he's still linked with the shady Kabbalist libertarians. It's just another, it's just another bowel movement they created to crap all over everything and deceive you. He's still like blaming Zionists. Dude, when are you going to blame the Jews who are your friends, Ron Paul? When are you going to blame the Jews who are your leaders in your movement? Because they're the same ones who run everything else. And there's this other dude who I would like mention right now, said some intelligent things, but I think he's in the politics, but I think he's a Jewish. I'm pretty sure he's Jewish. There is so much stuff going on. You guys don't know how many ways you're being robbed by these corporations. You know one or two things, and you're completely happy with it. You're completely happy with it. But you don't know the other 100 ways a day the products you buy and use are scamming you. Dyson didn't invent no super special cyclonic technology. We captured the power of a cyclone in your vacuum. No, they didn't. They captured the power of bullshit in their advertisements, and they're using it to siphon money from you. There is no special cyclonic technology. And they target it towards women. Look at the shapes and the colors of their vacuums. This is targeted towards women. Who uses vacuums? Think about it. Think about it. Almost like all the corporations now are involved in stuff like that. Maybe Orac isn't, right? Classic brand from the old day. Probably a dying brand. Like all what happens, everything dies. And these classic brand, Craftsman, look at Craftsman. No, we don't even got to talk about electronics. We don't even got to talk about software. But that's the future, right? And that's, these people can't talk about it at all. And they're not even talking about vacuums or Craftsman. They're using slogans like, oh, it's made in China, so it's shitty. Hey, everything's made in China. Shut the fuck up. You sound like a fucking stupid racist. You really do sound like a stupid racist when everything's made in China. And you're like, you can't believe it's made in China. It's like, everything was shipped off to China forever ago. And we could still have China make stuff and impose regulations upon products that enter our nations, and that would impose regulations on everyone because they wouldn't be able to market things over and over if we weren't buying the crap. If there wasn't a nation that allowed the crap to be bought, they wouldn't have a chance to set up a scammy warehouse that will sell the one-offs. A lot of this China junk that's one-off, it's old products that were made by a company that tried to be legit, but it was like their first 8 runs, their first 12 runs of the product, and there's always a little flaw. Like OtterBox got the OtterBox, and it still had the OtterBox detail markings on it. The patent code. They removed the markings, but they didn't remove like the patent and the trademark. Which was in an area which could have easily been overlooked by someone hurrying to scam for $1. But this was supposed to be about software, but it's everywhere. In software, and these computers are like, the future. Robotics are the future. And who's got control of the robotics and the AI? Google and Microsoft. We're not talking about China. We didn't ship Google and Microsoft to China. We shipped Intel to Israel. It's got nothing to do with China. Yeah, it sounds stupid. And that's what the Jews who run the Republicans will have you saying. They'll have you blaming China. They had everyone in the past blaming China. Ask old people. You know, you guys all know. You all heard your fathers or some old person, grandpa, talk about China. China can't do shit. Motherfucker, we're the superpower. We're number one. That's not just a phrase that idiots spout and other phrases that are deceptive spout. That's not a deceptive phrase. The world worships us. We've got a standard to live up to. We've got to set morals and goals and values. Because these people are following us. They want to be like us. They want to do everything we do. And we got to set the example. It's up to us. We can't wait for China to set the example, kick out their fucking evil leaders or whatever it is you think's going on over there. I mean, who knows? China's extremely censored. It's hard to tell what's anything going on over there because those Republicans are being brainwashed by the Jews who own our media to just be like, China, 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 China. And it's like, in reality, though, Craftsman gets shipped to China, it becomes a shitty company. But Craftsman, where's Craftsman going? Where is Sears going? Sears about to be gone. They shipped half that company to India. It's gone now. Shipped your customer service to India, bro. Your whole corporation's going to fail. I mean, everything isn't, the same stuff it was. In the 20s, all that was important was your tools. 1920s. All that was important, your car tools and your house tools. Until the technological revolution came along. And then computers and software took the front stage of everything. Everything. I mean, you don't even know it yet. It's hardly begun. And before the technological age even sets in completely, we're going to reach the robotics age and probably the space age before the software, the early computing age, fully reaches its maximum potential. Because we're at the point in the time of the world where multiple ages for once are going to start overlapping. The Bronze Age lasted a long time, The Iron Age lasted a long time. The Industrial Age lasted a couple hundred years. But these new ages, your technological, your robotic, and your space age, they're going to come together so fast, and it's going to make all this stuff even worse. Because you might get someone who understands the technological age in the office, and they have no idea what's going on in the robotics age or the space age. That's already here. Already here. Or the anti-space age. The truth about space age. Hell, let's call it that. Because the robotics and the technological age are already here. Just the robots are not everywhere yet. As we see it. They kind of are. They're building the cars and stuff like that. So something needs to be done about all this. And these people in office, something needs to be done about all of them. Because they're simply not taking their job seriously. Like, they're not looking at it as like a real job. They're looking at it as like, I need to sell my happy smile so China likes me. If I go into China saying, we need to change something about what's coming out of this country, so we would like better products coming into our nation, they don't want to do that. They don't want to not smile and look bad. They don't want to make America look bad for China. It's all about they're just sellouts. None of these, all these people, dude, I remember Kasich, when I was in 95, Kasich was going around gyms. And I was a little kid then, but I could tell, I was like, why is this dude in the gym? It's like, what the hell's this? I think he was wearing some proper clothes too. And it's like, what are you in a gym for, dude? I'm 15 and I can curl more weight than you. You need to be like I was and start at home with your little baby weights. But that wasn't his purpose. See, his purpose there was to talk to everyone. And he talked to me. So I knew who he was. And then I also worked at a place he liked to go to. So I talked to him there a lot. And I wouldn't say a lot, but I did every time I've seen him. We talk, right? But he wasn't selling. They aren't selling themselves on ability and intelligence. They're selling themselves on a personal level. You know, has this person ever said fuck in their life? Oh my God, he said fuck. He could never be in the office. You got to be a pussy ass poser. That's like the only job requirement. You got to be this smiley face guy. I never not smile. I never not say anything positive. It's all positive, son. Everything's positive. America's positive. The 14 trillion debt that's accelerated to 20 trillion since Trump took office, it's a positive. We got to look at it as being positive, because what we can do is we can just tell China to fuck off. Yeah. It's what we do to everybody. Just tell them to fuck off once we steal all their money. Man. I just go on and on about these corporations, what they're doing, and why they're doing it. But I'm not going to, because it's freaking hot out here. Okay? But I'm going to get in there. And you guys think about that. I mean, that's serious. Especially you younger people. I'm sure you're seeing it. I'm sure you're seeing it in everything. But what you're seeing, you don't have any reference to compare it to. Because when I was younger, there was still a little bit of quality left in America. There was still, they had to run software that worked properly, because back in the day, computers was for businesses mostly, but a few rich people had them, and a few people, you know, trying to be business-like and go to college had them. And you know, there's a few hooligans that had them. You know, my friend had one. He was the son of a man who made a little bit of money. You know, and that was about it. There's young hooligans, you know, some of them turned into hackers and stuff. Some of them, you know, turned into website entrepreneurs at age 16 and stuff. Back when that was like a money-making venture. Back when we actually went to websites for anything, right? Other than just shopping. But you guys don't even have the reference anymore. Because it's been shitty since like 97. Pretty much Windows 97, right? That was the last time anything good was coming out in the Windows era. And that was when your hardware manufacturers and your software manufacturers started doing a complete turnaround. Now, I'm going to finish just going back on some I didn't finish up. There was Tech Syndicate. When NVIDIA talked about the GPU that was going to be twice as good, twice as bad, everyone, Linus, everyone, I'm going to call you all out, because I've done it before and I don't care. All the leading tech channels like bought into this hype train like they were being paid to. And they swear up and down they're not being paid by anyone. But they bought in, they told you that, and they know better. They've been on this bandwagon. You know, they're the top of the tech. If I knew it, they knew it. It doesn't happen like that. They don't say you double the speed for half the price. That's Steel Joe style, you know? But Tech Syndicate, like, leaked us the real information that it wasn't performing like that. And I don't think they were supposed to. And eventually, Wendell was no longer part of Tech Syndicate. And Wendell was like the brains of Tech Syndicate. And I think most people left after Wendell left. But, I mean, but that's it. It's all over. It's so rampant. I mean, there could be so many things shut down if it changed if you implemented some sort of restrictions on this. And I'm not talking about, you know, implementing more restrictions. I'm talking about getting rid of a lot of restrictions and implementing newer ones, more basic ones even. They got to restrict. Laws have to be made so the simple person can understand it. People who don't have time or want to go around learning laws, so they don't have to hire $100,000 lawyers every time they got to go into the scam court system or even think about it. And in reality, if you want to sue one of these people, one of these software, one of these corporations, you want to sue the government, you want to sue anything, no lawyer is going to fucking help you. Everyone talks about how they got to go 8 states away to find a lawyer to help them do something like that. And you'll be lucky if you do that. I've already tried to contact lawyers from outside, and they never want to do anything. because their whole livelihood is on the line. If they start kicking the system they're part of. But I'll tell you what, man, it's time to start stomping this system. It's time to start stomping these corporations. And my idea is you just start hitting up these corporations with existing laws to the point that they'll basically be bankrupt. And then use court interjections to stifle their bankruptcy. Use their own scheming against them. Just keep them tied up in court so they can't go through bankruptcy and stuff until they're penniless. And then take the corporation and then sue the corporation for wasting all your time in court that never went through with their frivolous bankruptcy court cases. I mean, there are so many ways you can hit these people with everything, but they're being protected. You can hit these people on ridiculous levels, just like you're going to get hit on ridiculous levels if you ever have to go to court. You're going to face 5 charges for every single one charge. That way at least one sticks, But we hit them with all these things, all sorts of suits for everything they've been doing. Every little mistake and mishap they've been doing. Hit them with it all. And every time they come up with the bullshit excuse, hit them with injunctions on their bullshit. Be like, no, I think you're lying. You're lying to the court system. I think we're going to have to start pressing charges against you for lying under oath, as well as these other huge list of ongoing charges you're already in court for. And then we seize the corporations and we repurpose them for the people. Because we're going into this robotic age where we don't need corporate overlords for basic stuff. The government handles roads. Way in the past, the government probably didn't handle dirt roads and stuff. Who made dirt roads? Wagons made dirt roads, right? Pilgrims made dirt roads. Probably. I'm just assuming maybe the government helped people back then. I don't think the government really existed like that back then. The federal government wasn't allowed to do stuff like that back then. So the people did it, right? But we take over these basic things. We take over at least enough to secure some computer production facilities and some food production facilities, some car production facilities. And I would like to work with construction companies. Don't have too much against them that I've found in my own research. But we could always take over some of those and build some housing. But, especially when it comes to these computers, we've got plenty against them. We can take them over. We can shut them down. We can sue them. But I don't think it'd be a good idea to just let them go, because the age we're going into, we can have the government take them over, and then we can drop those off. Once the government assures that they're up and running, we drop them off to like militia. We let state militias control different parts, work together, something like that, and control different parts. And we let the people keep it open and free. Keep it open and free for the people. And we let the people, decide. But I'm not saying the people know everything. Like I say, I think 99.99999% of Android users have no fucking clue what they're talking about. So we can't just let them decide. We have to inform them, and then, let people know what's going on, make the decisions, and be open about it. And when things are looked at and seen, is this planned obsolescence? We need to really look into that. So that's not it. There's a lot more where that came from. But you guys have a good one.